Welcome to Jamie TV, where we do not pissy pants about. Thank you very much for tuning in. We are gathered here today to talk about FAC Drumkit, a brand new universal iOS drum app from one of iOS Music's most respected developers. Let's have a listen to another playing example, and then I'm going to give you an overview of exactly where I think that this app fits into the marketplace and who it might be suitable for. A very quick little thing, you may notice in this video I'm using WaveShaper by Elliot Garage rather a lot, and that's because I only just discovered it and I think it's brilliant, so I'm obsessed with it. I'm using it on everything, but it's made me wonder, why is this an app that you don't hear more about? I mean, you know, Elliot Garage is a really popular developer and some of his apps are really well respected, so it just seems a little strange to me that this one seems to have slipped under the radar a little bit. It really is fantastic, and when this video comes out it will be on sale, so I just wanted to mention it. Well worth checking out. Okay, back to the plot. From my own personal perspective, this is not a criticism, but FAC Drumkit is not an instant gratification app. It doesn't have its own sequencer, so it doesn't come with a bunch of MIDI patterns to get you started, and it only comes with 5 drum kits. Although if you continue to watch this video, I think you'll see why that's really not an issue. What it gives you is everything that you need to get stuck into the nitty-gritty of every single drum sound, and using a blend of samples and synthesis you can build your own perfect drum kit, the kit to perfectly suit your track, or you can build yourself an awesome drum kit from scratch that will inspire you to go on and create the best track that anyone has ever recorded. If that sounds like it might sizzle your sausage, then please stay tuned and I will show you how it works. That was just a quick clip of a drum kit that I built myself in FAC Drumkit by importing my own samples, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. First of all, let me just remove this reverb here so that any sounds you hear during this demonstration are the raw sounds of the app. Now this app does not resize quite like some apps do, but what you do get is this very cool calculator style view. Or if you drag it out like this, it will go into a screen that's been very cleverly optimized to work very well inside of all the popular digital audio workstations on the iOS platform, he said while demonstrating it in AUM. For now, that is anyway. Okay, now we have 3 screens to look at. Over here we have the finger drumming screen. And you'll see that the kit has 16 sounds. I do like a kit with plenty of sounds available. I do always feel just a little bit restricted when you can only have 8. Here we have the mixing desk, which speaks for itself. I mean, what can I tell you about a mixing desk? It's got mutes and solos and pans and levels. And then this screen, this really is where all of the action is. Down here we have where we choose which kit we want to be using, and there you can see drums bank 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. They're the kits that the app comes with. If we wish to view or make any changes to any of the parameters for any of the individual component parts of the drum kit, we have these 16 buttons here for us to select the instrument we want to work on. I'm just going to select the snare here, and these 16 numbers, by the way, correspond with the 16 tracks of the mixing desk and the 16 finger drum pads. And let's say we don't have an external keyboard attached, we could play the selected instrument with this little button here. Let's just also play the clap with that. I do have an external keyboard attached though, so I'll be using that. Now up here we have the sample section and the oscillator section. So the sounds in this kit are made with a blend of samples and the oscillators. So what I'm going to do using this button here, I'm just going to switch off the oscillator section so that you can hear the sample on its own, which I can switch off with this button here, put the oscillators back on. So there are the two separate sounds and together. Okay, we'll put the oscillator section off again. Now up here is where we can change the sample that we're using. If I do a quick click, here are the samples included in this kit, so you can switch out which one you're using. But if you do a long press, you can load any of the sounds that the app comes with, or you can go to your file browser and import your own samples, or even load a whole kit's worth of samples. You can of course also toggle left and right between the samples included in the kit. And so on and so on. Right, now we have, for the sample section, we have a high pass filter and a low pass filter, and we can adjust the Q for those filters. And we can flip the phase on and off, which isn't making an awful lot of difference to this particular sound. And here is the volume for the sample. Over here we have the amp envelope section for the sampler and the pitch envelope section for the sampler. Now a little quick tip, if you've imported a sample of your own and it doesn't sound anything like you expected it to sound, it's probably to do with how you have your high pass or low pass filters set, or possibly it might be to do with this window here. Now if you go up here, you'll find there are some preset envelopes for you, and if you select full amp envelope and then make the start time 0, now the sample will probably sound something like you expected it to. Okay, now from here you can make your own little adjustments by clicking and dragging the nodules around. You can add another one if you need one. You can edit things by degree, so actually no, make sure. I'm glad I did that actually, because I keep doing that and it's something I wanted to include in this video. Make sure you don't have one of these little noggins selected, and then go to here and you'll find that you can copy and paste envelopes, which is very, very useful. You can also change the stereo width of the sample. Let me just press done here. I think I've done demonstrating that. We have a wide or zoomed view of this. And over here in the pitch section, of course, we can make similar types of adjustment, and we also have a couple of presets there to choose from. Okay, now let's just switch the sampler off. We'll put the oscillators on. Now this button here, this will activate the phase modulation between the two oscillators. So in this position or in this position, I tend to find that the more interesting, maybe slightly more experimental sounds are best discovered in this position. We have two oscillators, so to demonstrate the first one, I'm just going to drag down the volume of the second one. Now here we can select a different waveform, and let's just select a different one for oscillator 2. If you want to introduce a white noise waveform, you can only do that on oscillator 2. So let us select that here. There we go. And we have high pass and low pass filter for this section. And we've got a Q for the low pass filter. Here we've got pan for this section and also a volume for this section, and this ratio control here is applied to the pitch envelope for oscillator number 2. And over here we have amp envelope for oscillator number 2, number 1, and the pitch envelope for both. And here is where we can really create some slightly crazy sounds. Let's see if we can make that sound last longer here. There we go. And with the white noise, let's see if we can get something a bit more. Yes. There you go. So as you can see in this section, this is where we can really sort of shape the slightly crazier sounds and really get deeper into the synthesis. In this little project I'm using 3 instances of FAC Drumkit. I'm also using WaveShaper for a little theremin sound just to fill out the background there, and I'm using Helium for all of the MIDI. Now in instance number 1 I'm simply using the second drum bank that comes with the app. In the second instance, what I've done is I've imported some xylophone sounds, and I don't even have the synth section of the app switched on. It's just basically hosting my xylophone sounds, which go from C through to D sharp chromatically. And then in the third instance, I wanted to see if I could use the synthesis section to create an instrument. So no samples involved in this particular instance at all. All I did was I had a pissy pants around with the oscillators until I'd created something resembling a bass sound. And then I just pressed on that sound, copied it, and then I pasted it into all of the other slots available. And then what I did was I went to the pitch envelope for each one, and if you press and hold on this little noggin here, it actually tells you what note that's going to play. And so I just went in and adjusted all of them until I had C through to D sharp once again chromatically. Okay, now one of the most wonderful things about FAC Drumkit is that it is multi-bus out, which is just a fabulous thing, especially in a drum kit. So I'm just going to show you how you implement that in Cubasis 3. You go over here, and down at the bottom of this section here it says add 16 tracks. We click on that, and now we actually have 17 tracks of drums. We've got an individual track for each drum, and we also have a master track. Now if I just go over to my mixer here, and I'm just going to press play, and the drums will start in a moment. There we go. Right, now this is a master track. If I'll just solo my mic first. If I just solo this track, okay, so all the drums are still on this track. if I just solo the first individual track, we've got nothing because I have muted the master track. So what we have to do, if we don't want that master track in the mix, we simply pull it down. Now I've got just kick on track 1, and if I go across and solo the other channels, you'll see that we've got now an individual track for each component part of the drum kit. From that point, of course, with all the drums and individual tracks, it's going to make it much easier for a stupid old hippie to get a much more professional sounding mix. And it will mean that I can add different effects to individual drum tracks, and I will probably then send all of those tracks to a group track. I hope that I've successfully shown you why I think that this app is a bit of a beauty. There's nothing else quite like it on iOS for drums. There's nothing about it that I dislike at all, but if I had to level a criticism at it, then I would probably say that it could maybe come with a few more kits. Now, it doesn't really need more kits, because what this app is really all about is about you creating your own sounds. So whether or not you should buy it really depends on how you feel about that. But I think that a few more kits might make it a slightly easier sell. Now, some people have said that they would like the app to have its own sequencer and its own patterns, but for me, I mean, just my opinion, don't shoot me, but I'm always going to be using this app inside of a digital audio workstation, or I'm going to be using it in AUM. So in a DAW, I'm going to be using the piano roll, and in AUM, I'm going to be using Helium or LK or Atom or Rusemaker. So for me, it's just not really necessary, and I would much rather that an app didn't have a sequencer than have just a token one. Now, I hope that I've explained the app successfully. You know, I hope I've covered everything. If I have missed anything, because, you know, I am getting on a bit now and, you know, stuff escapes me. If I've missed anything, by all means, comment below the video, ask your questions. I will reply. I will help you. So until my next video, take care of yourselves and be good, make lots of music, and don't piss your pants about. See you later.